finally Friday. It's Friday, Friday.
Thank God it's
Welcome back to the Friday Show, presented by the Match Series, the Mid-Atlantic Thoroughbred Championships resuming at Parks Labor Day weekend. I'm Scott Jagow, along with Ray Paulick. Coming up, we'll talk about the Whitney Stakes, which is shaping up to be a mini Breeders' Cup. But first, Ray, what caught our attention this week was Stonestreet Stables making an announcement that they are going to provide blood tests for all of their yearling consignments. And this is to test for anabolic steroids and, more importantly, in this year, the controversial bisphosphonates. What did you make of this move?
I think it's a good move by Stonestreet. It's part marketing because buyers will be able to look at their consignment, I think, with confidence. But it also tells me that maybe this bisphosphonates problem is bigger than I thought it was. It first kind of came up during the spike at Santa Anita earlier this year, even though Larry Bramlage at Rood and Riddle about a year and a half ago went out and said this drug could be a real problem if given off-label, which means it's a drug that was created for horses about 5 or 6 years ago, but it's for older horses to treat bone problems. It's been given apparently to young horses, yearlings, 2-year-olds, and horses at the track against the label recommendation. And what Stonestreet's doing is working with the Gluck Center at the University of Kentucky. They're giving buyers a chance to look at blood tests going back 6 months before a sale, and that be confident that these horses were not given bisphosphonates, which can help conceal sesamoiditis, which is a common problem in young horses. But what it does, it stunts growth because it tamps down on the regeneration of bone.
I applaud Stonestreet for doing this. We always talk about transparency and how we need more of it in this industry. So this is transparent. I love it. I think all consignors should do it. But in fact, I want the sales companies to do this. I mean, they are the ones that should step forward. Now, a few months ago, they kind of joined together, announced that they would blood test horses after the sale, and then if there was an issue within 24 hours of being notified, you could reverse the sale. The problem with that is that, like, Stonestreet's doing this 6 months out. After the sale doesn't work because these drugs are only detectable about a month out. So you could be using bisphosphonates on your yearling for months and then stop on August 1st, and it wouldn't show up in a test after the September yearling sale. To me, they've got to step forward and be proactive on this because I am very concerned, and people with much more knowledge than me about this are also very concerned about the potential problems with bisphosphonates being used on young horses.
Yeah, I'm concerned that it may be a bigger problem than I thought, but I'm also concerned that veterinarians who should know better are allowing its use in young horses. It sort of defies logic. Once they know that this can cause a problem in horses, the idea of giving it to a young horse to help it get through a yearling sale, or that it has an analgesic effect at the racetrack, which has been reported as well. Veterinarians, they swear on an oath when they get their license to do no harm to the horse. And this is a drug that, against label use, apparently does harm to horses. So they just need to stop. There's been quick reaction from industry organizations. The RCI and others have come out and said these drugs are banned in young horses. But I'm afraid the veterinary community hasn't 100% got it. There's research being done. There's client education being done. But the word has been out there for well over a year and a half now. To still be talking about vets giving this to young horses means that there are some vets that just don't get it.
In fact, Dr. Mark Cheney, at a public meeting last week, the Drug Research Council meeting in Kentucky, told a story of a trainer who asked his vet to give all of his 2-year-olds bisphosphonates. Now, I don't know if he had ill intent or was trying to cheat or whatever. it may be just he didn't have the understanding about the way the drug works and the potential ramifications. So he asked this vet, and the vet said no. And then Cheney followed up the story by saying, well, the trainer found another vet, and that vet agreed to give bisphosphonates to the 2-year-olds. And, I don't know whether they are going to argue that we don't have research. Show me the science. Show me the science that this is a problem for 2-year-olds. Well, there's enough discussion from people in the know about this, and Dr. Larry Bramlich being one of those people warning last year, as you said, that you can't wait for the research to come out and say, oh, I'll give it now. You don't know. So if you don't know, don't do it. And this is a problem. Veterinarians have done this for years. They see a drug out there, it says this is what it's supposed to be used for, and then they use it for something else, and they don't have the research, and then later on they find out, well, I probably shouldn't have been doing that. I mean, honestly, shame on you if you're using this drug on young horses.
Yeah, clenbuterol is a good example of that. Clenbuterol was developed to help horses breathe, to clear up throat issues, lung issues, and it was a very effective drug for that. But what trainers and vets found out is that it had steroidal effects in horses. It allowed them to train more robustly, and it became a go-to drug for cheaters. And it's probably the most abused therapeutic drug that's out there right now. And we've seen the history of clenbuterol was, it was being given within 24 hours of race, and now it's pushed out to the point where it can really only be used in ways that are for its intended use, which is to help clear up breathing problems in horses. So off-label use of drugs is something that's been done for a long time, but this is one that these vets if they're using bisphosphonates off-label on yearlings or 2-year-olds, it's just wrong.
Yeah, and Dr. Mary Scolay said she's more than a little nervous about this drug and what it could be doing to young horses. And again, the research isn't in, but the fatalities that have been going on in recent years, there's definitely a chance that this drug is contributing to those. And if that's the case, it needs to get out of the sport. And I'm glad to see Stonestreet stepping up, and hopefully others will follow, and the sales companies will do this as well. We have a poll question actually about this. Should sales companies require blood tests when horses are entered at their auctions? I mean, it's pretty simple formality that could be done. Let us know what you think at our website, PaulickReport.com. All right, let's move on to racing, Ray. The Whitney Stakes. Man, I mean, we don't always get such a deep field in some of these big races. I mean, sometimes you wind up with a couple of standouts. Here, the top 4 contenders by voting of media for the Breeders' Cup Classic, they're all in this race.
They are. McKenzie is atop the Breeders' Cup Classic poll, and I've got him at number 1 in my vote, but not with a lot of conviction. I think that Thunder Snow, who's in this race, along with Preservationist, who made his stakes debut in the Suburban, is going to be tough. And between those 3, I don't know. I think Thunder Snow, who doesn't seem to win a lot, at least on these shores, I think he's going to be really tough here.
Thunder Snow, I have all respect for Thunder Snow. But as you said, he doesn't win a lot here. He seems to love Dubai. I don't know. The finishing of it, I don't know. I think at the end, he just usually gets beaten by somebody. Monongahela is a horse in here who's a complete mystery, trained by Jason Service. So, you gotta keep an eye on that horse. And I think everyone is going to completely forget that Yoshida is in this race, and he's a pretty good horse. And I want to say that Joel Rosario is back on him. The only 2 times that Rosario has ridden Yoshida, he has won, and that includes the Woodward last year. And Bill Mott, you know how good he is, and at Saratoga he's having a great meet. And when those 2 get together at Saratoga in the last 2 years, 39% winners. So watch out for Yoshida coming.
And Vino Rosso, who has turned into a pretty good 4-year-old. So this is a race that's going to change a lot of votes if McKenzie doesn't win. it's the field is deep. Whitney Day is always one of the best days of the year in the summer, and this year it's especially good because of the depth of this field.
Can't wait. Whitney Day is tomorrow at Saratoga. That is going to do it for this edition of the Friday Show presented by the Match Series. It picks up again Labor Day weekend at Parks. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next time.